Hi guys, alright, we're here today with the Virus B desktop. Recently purchased this unit off eBay. It's in good working condition. As you can see, the knobs have been removed. I'll show you a photo of those. I just finished cleaning them. Um, I'll show you some before pictures so you can see what shape this thing was in. It's fully functional, just filthy, and generally just at this age in need of maintenance, so that it can go on and keep making music for another 10, 20 years or so. We hope. So first things first, let's just kind of get into the unit itself in its current state. Help if I turn the power on. So this is running 4.9. It's a later run of the Virus B. We know that because it's running 4.9, but also because of the knob color. The knobs that have a darker gray stripe, those are typically running 4.9. If it has more of a white stripe, then it's 452 or something like that. So an earlier version of 4. It's not a hard rule, but that's kind of just what I've noticed over the years. So I've gone ahead and tested everything. All the tacks work. They all work on the first try, but I think that the right move, well, I know the right move is to go ahead and replace them all. We'll see. If I get in there and they're all obviously replacements and they're fairly recent, then I'm going to leave them because it's a heck of a job to replace them all. But I am going to for sure take a look at the power supply filter cap. I want to see what that is. Being that it's a later model, it's probably not the brown capacitor, but it's probably old. It's probably 15 years old, so it should be replaced. The battery, for sure, we're going to replace that as well. Let's take a look and do the wiggle test and see if we get a reset. We do not, so that is nice. That's very nice. A lot of the times these units will just reset when you do that. It's not a big deal operationally. In any type of studio setting, it doesn't matter, but it's nice when they don't do that. So cosmetically, this unit's in pretty good shape. It's filthy, but that's to be expected. The paint is generally intact. There's a few marks here and there, but I've definitely seen worse. There's some scratching and denting in the wood sides, some missing finish on the bottom, some sticky goo. So it needs to be cleaned properly, but that's not a big surprise. Generally speaking, it's actually in pretty darn good shape. But yeah, it will benefit from having certain things done. Like I said, changing the battery, taking a look at that power supply filter capacitor, and then we want to take a look at all these tacks. All the pots feel good. I don't have any problem with any pots. I'm not going to replace any of them. They're all tight. They're all good. No wobblers. So this unit's been well taken care of. Yeah, so let's dig in. I kind of just want to run through the process with you. So the first thing we want to do, I want to just flip this unit over and go ahead and get on into it. And I don't want to put pressure on these pots. So I'm just going to lay it on these pieces of wood here so that I can undo these 6 screws and get into the bottom. Okay, so generally the secret is kind of just tilt it up a little bit and then just slides right out of the back there like that. This piece is nice and straight. That's good. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way for the time being. And let's take a look at our first history. Now, I don't mind putting it on the pots now. I have no problem putting the weight on there now. I want to see what kind of capacitor we have here. And in order to do so, I'm going to need a flashlight and a magnifying glass. And I want to see if we can get any type of information off of this. Yeah, so it's a Nippon Chemicon, or Chemicon, whatever you want to say. It's actually a good capacitor. The issue with it is it's old. It's very old. So we definitely want to replace that. And that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to replace that, replace the battery, fire the board back up, make sure it's good, and then we're going to get the main board out of the way and work our way towards the panel board where we're going to do most of our work. So having done this several times before, I want to get 2 anti-static bags ready. So the first thing I'm actually going to do, I'm going to replace the battery. This battery might be good for another several years. We just have no way to kind of tell, so we're going to just swap in a new one here. It's just a very inexpensive, courteous thing to do is swap in a new battery anytime you open one of these up. So there's a little notch that I like to use here just to kind of lift this one out. It's a little easier if I do it from the other side. There we go. Okay. Well, so much for doing it fast, but that's okay. So we want to loosen our cables before we even mess with any screws. And this is the cable that's really going to give us trouble. And that's why I have the screwdriver. There we go. Just want to get it started. And then you can kind of wiggle your way. Open it up a little more. There we go. We're going to get one side opened up pretty good. Now we can get our big screwdriver and just pop that the rest of the way off. Okay, this cable is going to come out a lot easier. Generally no trouble from that one ever. Next thing we want to do, we want to go ahead and remove the screws from the back of the unit here. So these little 2 pegs here, it's just a little pin you push in on one side. Same with this one, and this board's going to lift right out. Our cables are out of the way. Now the thing about the virus sense, it's a pain. The board is attached to the frame permanently via the power port here. So we're kind of limited as far as movement. There we go. Just wanted to get it out. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark the capacitor that we're removing. I mean, I know which one it is, but it's good to mark it on the board. And I'm going to get our magic marker, which is over here. Okay. So it's this one here. And the easiest way to get it out, I'm actually going to flip all this around because I want to be able to get to the other side of it. So the easiest way to get these out is just to kind of bury it in solder, and then you can just pull it right on through. And that's usually what I do, and that's what I'm going to do here. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick look at polarity. And negative pin is on that side. And you can tell it's the negative pin. It's going to be shorter, but it's also going to have this stripe on it. So the stripe is negative. The longer pin is positive. So we're going to put this one in just like this. And these are Panasonic P14413NDs. probably the best capacitor to replace that one with. It's low ESR, high ripple current tolerance, whatever. It's going to run nice and cool and keep this unit in good working order for many years to come. All downstream components are going to get a cleaner signal. It's definitely the way to go. You could also use a Nishikon. I have Nishikons, which I use, but I want to use the Panasonic this time. Okay, I'm just going to tin my tip a little bit here, and then I'm just going to blow some solder onto both these joints. There we go. That's it for a moment. Let me get a good grip on this. Angle things just a little bit here. So I'm going to get the solder to flow, and then I'm just going to pull that cap straight on through. Just making sure I've got the right one. Give it a moment. And there we go. It just falls right out. And we want to remember, negative side goes that way. I'm kind of just getting set up now to clean that, to clean and prepare. Okay, so we're going to get our solder sucker. Okay, we need to clean our tip. We got way too much solder on there. So that's actually good. It's more on the tip and less on the board. Yeah, it's right as I sucked. It was just flowing. There we go. And now let's get this other side. Kind of the same thing there. Right as I sucked, it was just getting ready to flow. So let's just do another. There we go. We're probably going to want to clean this with some flux, some alcohol. But we should have two nice holes, and we do. Yeah, actually, we don't even need flux. We can just clean with alcohol. It's so clean. So we're going to use industrial alcohol for this. Just pour a little bit into our cap. We just want to get on the end of our cotton swab here. And it's very simple. We're just going to clean any excess off and get this prepared for. We're also going to clean our mark off. We're just going to get those two pads prepared for soldering. And then we're just going to dry with the other side. Let's just take a quick look. Yep. So very clean job. Okay, so we've got our capacitor out, as we've said. We're going to put our new Panasonic in. Negative pins on this side. Holes are nice and clean. So what I like to do, one trick I like to use, is get some painter's tape out. And it just helps hold the capacitor in place until you've actually soldered it to the board. So I'm just going to get a little strip of that out. And I'm going to just feed these through. Actually, I need to kind of see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to feed these through. There we go. Now, you do want to make sure your capacitor is not touching anything else. And we're just naturally, yeah, just like that. Just naturally tilt it slightly away from the other. I mean, it's not, it's all shielded, but tilt it away from the other caps. And then we can actually, let's flip it back this way. Usually 2 pieces of wood are just right. And there we go. Now we're kind of resting on our capacitor, which is taped into place. I'm just going to separate them slightly. I'm going to go for the positive pin first. And I'm just trying to think of how we position, because I want to use the, yeah, we want to use our magnifying glass. Things are very small, so it's just easier to see. Very clean. This should be a very clean, quick job. So the first thing always I want to do is clean my tip off. Gonna put a little tin on the tip. Just kind of helps things flow a little. Actually, I put it on the wrong spot. I'm gonna put it on the bottom of the tip there. Very end. There we go. And I'm gonna get my solder ready and heat, and there we go. Just like that. Just very quickly. Now we're going to do the same for the negative pin. Oh, too slow. Start over. Give it a second to cool off. And there we go. You might want a little bit more solder on that. Let's just examine now. Make sure that we have everything the way we want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and snip those pins. One last look before we do this. Make sure that everything's connected like we think it is. Okay, so I'm going to snip this right pin, positive pin. Get that out of the way. I do believe we need a little more solder on this negative pin here. So I'm going to just come back in for another bite at the apple there. It's fine, I'm sure it'll work, but there's a little air gap there. So let's just clean our tip, tin the very end of it. Get it ready. I want to come in from the back side here just a little bit. I'll be able to see, yeah, there's just a little air gap I want to fill. There we go. Much better. I mean, not like it was bad, but it's more of a factory look now. Main thing is you want to be very quick. You see how I'm quick? Like if I didn't get it on the first try, I'm going to pull away and let it cool off and come back to it. It's not because I'm worried about the capacitor. The capacitor can take it. I'm worried about the pads. These pads just disintegrate. Especially as you get up into like the virus C and above. They wouldn't really need it. You don't even need to bother with capacitors on the TIs. But on the C you do. Now we want to test before we go any further. These are the right capacitors, but you never know. So I'm going to double check our polarity. Negative stripe should be to this side. It is. It's nice and secure. It's not touching anything. It's good to go. I'm going to go ahead and get this just positioned here. Flip this back around. Now I'm not going to put in all of our screws, but I'm going to get our clip. I'm going to get our 2 plastic clips, and I'm going to get our cables. I'm not going to do the screen cable all the way because it's a pain. I'm going to get it on enough to work. Okay, yeah, I'm not want to do it all the way. I am going to get 1 screw in here for any grounding or anything. Now what should happen is we should flip this over and it should boot right up into OS 4.9. Worst case, it boots up into nothing. I guess that would be the worst case, smoke. But no, worst case it'll it'll boot with just these 2 LFO lights on. Let's make sure we're turned off. Plug ourselves in, and there we go. 4.9. Ready to go. Brand new Panasonic capacitor. So that's, like I said, that's going to supply nice, clean power downstream. This is the power supply filter capacitor. So it's the most important capacitor. It's the most common fail point on the Virus B is this. You'll often see them booting up with just LFO 1 and 2 on. That's that. You'll also see screen flickering, parameter jumping, instability, general instability. All of that can be caused by this. So that's why I kind of harp on that one as a key component to replace. And we just want to do a wiggle test, see we were getting good power. So at this point, what I'm going to do, we're done with the main board. That's the only component I want to, or the only components I want to replace on the main board were the battery and this capacitor. So that's done now. So I want to go ahead and get the main board out and get it out of the way. Well, we need to get it out. We need to get our panel board out. Then we're going to fold the main board back into the chassis and get it all out of the way and focus the rest of our work on the panel board, which is going to be, you know, several hours worth of work to do there. The screen will stay, but we just need to undo all these screws. However, we don't want to put any, this is where you could damage the board if you're reckless. Let's say you had all the screws out except for one. Well, then the weight of the entire chassis is sitting on that one particular point of the board, and you can flex the board and break a trace or something, and that would be very regrettable. Though fixable, it would be regrettable. So always prop it up like this. Now, I've taken a virus apart 1,000 times. If you haven't, you might want to separate your screws by steps. You know, these like wood screws are the ones that go on the bottom. The black machine screws go in the back, and then the silver machine screws, which I've only taken one out, are what hold the board in place. I believe that's all our screws. This panel board is just going to lift right out once we get this out of the way. It's a little tricky to get out. There we go. Oh, we have some sticky goo. Yeah, this is a virgin board. It has not been taken out before. This is a remarkably good shape Virus B. Absolutely no rust of any kind. All the paint is still in the back of this board like it's supposed to be. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to wrap this up very well. And I'm going to go ahead and clean the top plate of this, just because it's really satisfying, and we need to do it, and now's a good time to do it. So I'm not going to spray it. Our board's under there, it's protected, it's safe. I could spray, but that would just be reckless. So I'm just going to spray on my paper towel, and then we're going to wipe away 20 years of dirt and dust and reveal a beautiful red face. Look at that. This is going to be quite dirty, I'm sure. Yeah. Sure, this will be quite dirty again. Yeah. Wow, what a difference, huh? You cannot properly clean a synth without taking the panel board out. You just can't do it. You can try to clean around the knobs, but you can't. Now there's some sticky, the warranty seal is on the back and it's sticky, so we're going to clean that with alcohol. We need to be a little sparing with it because it will start to dig into the finish if you're not careful. I'm just looking for my lower grade 90-10 alcohol as opposed to my industrial strength. So again, I'm just going to spray some alcohol on a paper towel. And I'm just coming in to get this warranty sticker off. You can see it takes some finish with it. You see that? You gotta be very careful. But it's better than having sticky glue. As long as you're responsible, quick. There we go. Now I can see we need to do one more cleaning of this faceplate to get down to it. Yeah, if we can pull off touching up the wood paneling on the side, which I know we can, this will be. There's still some dents in the wood paneling. That's going to be the only flaw in this unit, and a tiny little nick in the paint there. It's just not even noticeable. Really good shape for a machine that's 25 years old. This guy really took care of it, and kudos to him. And thank you for selling it to me. So we start to work with our panel board. Hi guys, all right, we're picking up the Virus B here. Um, Yesterday I jumped right into tech switch replacement without talking about anything. I wanted to try a new method that I saw a gentleman use online, and his tools were a little bit different, but his basic methodology was, you know, bury the pins in flux, and then, use wick to get everything up. And yeah, it did a really good job in the sense that it really cleaned the pads well. Um, but and that was fast. Um, but it was really slow to clean up. I mean, it's just cleaning up flux from all. It took like, I don't know, 15 minutes to clean it all up from just this area here. Because you clean it, you think it's good, you let it dry, and it's sticky and gooey. Clean it again, looks good, it can't possibly be dirty again, let it dry, and it's sticky and gooey. It just, I didn't even use a lot. I used less than he did. So while this method was really good for cleaning the pads properly, and it was fast, it was really slow for cleanup. So anyway, I'm gonna do, getting them out is I made a video about that I use a method to get them out. We just put a little solder on the side we're gonna work on, and then we use our little tool here to help pry it out, and it's just easy peasy lemon squeezy. They come right out. So got getting them out to a science. It's just cleaning the pads that I want to get faster on. So I'm going to do this method today. We did 8 in about 40 minutes yesterday. Let's see what we can do in 40 minutes today. So anyway, with that said, we're going to go into time lapse and see what happens here. All right, guys, let's pick it up here where I've kind of got a little bit of the best of both worlds going on. So for sure, my way of getting tacks out is faster than anything else I've seen, which is clip all the pins and put some fresh solder flow on one side. So two, these, let's say we're going to get these 2 out, and then just use this tool and just heat. And as these get both melt at the same time, just kind of pop that side out. Once one side's out, it's simple. You just yank the other side out, and then yank the other side out. Heat, pull it out, heat, pull it out. Super easy. What's hard is heating both and getting one side out at the same time. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. That's the fastest technique. I got these out. Like, if you watch the time lapses, boom, 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 boom. Very simple. So then I decided, okay, let's do the solder sucker and see how fast we can do that. Well, yeah, no, the flux technique is definitely better. But rather than burying the board in flux like that guy was doing, that in the video that I watched, and forgive me, I'm always learning new stuff. I mean, I taught myself everything, so I didn't go to school for anything, right? I just learned it. So what works so well is just a tiny bit of flux on the wick itself, just like that. You get the same result as if you buried the board in flux without the mess. So I just saved these last 5 joints to clean, and yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about. Sucks it up just like it would as if you buried the board in flux, but there we go, nice and clean. Now we're still going to have some flux residue on the board, but it's not going to be nearly as much as was before. This one's going to take a lot. It's going to eat up like a centimeter worth of a wick here. I'm going to let that keep going. It's just a lot, I know it is. All right. And we had to get these last 2 here. 1 and 2. So yeah, I mean, that's fast as far as cleaning these up goes, or as far as getting rid of the excess solder. It's really fast. Definitely faster than the solder sucker. I mean, it's not even close, to be honest. So what I want to see is how quickly I can clean this up, which last night, just burying the whole thing, it was such a chore. I literally had to clean it like 8 times, like I was saying. So what I'm hoping for is like a 1 or 2 shots here. You know, and I did a lot. I think I did 10 or 11 this time, so. That one I'm going to have to clean more, I can see right away. Let's just do that real quick. Get it over with now. It's probably one I hit with the solder sucker and then come back to it. Okay, back to what we were doing here. Let's see how quickly we can get these cleaned, and really clean. There's still flux on the board, but it's nowhere near like yesterday where I was swimming in it. Your Q-tip's turning yellow, but not a ton. You don't want to get cotton pulling apart. Once that starts to happen, just throw the Q-tip away and get another one. Alright, one more. Even at where I'm at now, it's way faster than yesterday, so let's see if this does it. I think we'll be there after this. I'm gonna dry now. I'm just tilting so I can see where the moisture is. Yeah, there we go. No more sticky. If it was sticky, I would have trouble pushing it, and it would start pulling the cotton off the swab. Okay, that's how you do it. Put the cotton, or put the flux on your wick. All right. I know. I'm gonna try alcohol first on the other side and see, because we're dusty here. We're really dusty on this side. Let's get some of this up. All right. So if all goes well, we're gonna get all these tacks in, and yeah, we'll have gotten quite a bit more done today than we did yesterday in the same time period. But let's see. Some of these might fight us. We'll find out. I don't think they're going to, though. They're all going to fall right in pretty easily. Yeah, I can tell you right now, these are all going to go in nice. Maybe I have one that gives me a hard time. These aren't even close to giving me a hard time. These ones might. Top side here. Yep. Saw that coming. All right, that one's definitely going to give me trouble. Let's pull our tack switch back out. Turn our iron back on. I don't think we need any flux. There's already some on here. There we go. All right, you should go right in now. Yep. Let's see if this one gives us trouble. These are the two I did with the solder sucker, so that's why definitely doesn't do as good of a job as the flux. All right, so we got 2, 5, 6, 8, 9. Really, that's it? No. 10. Yeah, 3, 6, 8, 10. So 2 more than yesterday. All right, let's get out the old magnifying glass and just roll through these and then call it a day. So, I'm an hour and 20 minutes in, and I still have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 to go. So, figure, yeah, an hour and 20 minutes. It's going to be 3 hours. So that's actually good. 3 hours to replace all the tacks. Not bad. Not bad. And that's with no mistakes. So, I haven't burned any diodes, I haven't burned any pads, I haven't lifted any pads, I haven't lifted any traces. It's, pretty much perfect. A couple of lights are bent, that's always going to happen. These little guys get out of alignment, it's always going to happen. This one here got a little pushed. These little light guys are pretty bendy, pretty resilient. So we'll make sure they line up when we put it back together. But yeah, so tomorrow, rock those, or maybe Friday, rock those, and then wood sides, and this unit's restored. So all right, so let's get into our wood sides here. They're actually in pretty good shape, but there's some denting, which is what it is. It's not going to come out. But they're dirty. They need to be cleaned. They need to be stripped. They need to be stained and then sealed and waxed and dried and polished and the whole nine. I'm just going to start with alcohol and just start cleaning, and it's going to get some of the finish with it, and that's fine. But there was some sticky goo on these, some dirt. These are actually pretty darn clean, to be honest. But this is the best. Alcohol is the best thing to use to prepare it for what comes next. Okay, we're getting a little bit of dirt, but we're not getting any of the stain. We're not getting any red. That's good though. I'm not going to complain. It's just usually you get a little bit of red with it. All right, so let's check real quick, and I think we have somewhere in here dark walnut. I'm sorry. And let's just color in some of the denting that's left. So there's a nice line here of exposed wood, and on the other one as well, there's that mark. This isn't a perfect color match, but it's really close. Close enough, right? Look at that. That mark just disappears. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark up the whole thing. Like 98% of this will not soak in. But here's a corner here where we want to get. The 2% that does soak in is going to even out the tone. This tone is so close, it really doesn't need to be even out. I mean, look at it; it's really the same. It's the right. But yeah, we just want to get a nice layer of this stuff everywhere. Now we're going to just even that out. That actually soaked in better than I thought it would. Usually it stays on top and it's very wet and just easy to move around, this just went immediately to sticky, which means that it's absorbing into the wood. No need to wipe off any excess on that. Let that dry overnight. See how nice that looks? Let it dry overnight. Some of that shine's going to come out, but that's okay. And we'll wipe it off tomorrow. I'm just going to hit the other side now. And that's it. Gonna let that sit. Keep it raised. And yeah, we'll pick it up tomorrow, guys, when we put it all back together. Actually, well, the one thing I gotta do, it's not really exciting to show on camera, I'm gonna wash these in just soap and water, cold water, no hot water for these. You need to use hot water on the knobs in order to get the grease and film and grime free. But on these, if you use hot water, they're going to come out like white. It ruins them. So cold water, and they're not that dirty, so they don't collect dirt like the knobs do. All right, guys, we'll pick it up tomorrow. All right, guys, so we've done all the work on our virus B here, and we're ready to go ahead and get her put back together. So yeah, I'm just going to jump in and just start getting things ready to go. We've already gone through everything that we've done. I'm sure I'll do it again at the end of the video, but yeah, first things first, let's get our panel board in. So we're going to fold the main board out of the way, take a quick look, make sure all of our lights are in alignment. Some of them get pushed out of the way a little bit. They're pretty good. There's a couple that I need to adjust. These lights are very resilient. They just get knocked around a little bit when you're installing the Tact, so not a big deal. Sometimes the top of them, like that one, likes to get knocked out of the way. Alright, so I'm just going to give the board a final look. All our diodes are good. All our tacks are good. All our pots are good. So yeah, let's get her seated, and we will go from there. We want to get this cable through first, and then we want to seat this end. That's yeah, that sits underneath the power supply. And we're going to take a quick look and just make sure all our lights landed where they're supposed to. They did. Nothing worse than putting the whole thing together and then realizing, oh, you got a light that bent out of the way. It happens. Alright, so we got our screws ready. And we're just going to zip on through this. All right, that's our panel board in. Remember, you don't need to over tighten these, just snug is good. And now we're going to go ahead and get our main board ready. Let's get these pins kind of centered and ready to go. And yeah, let's just get this ready to slide into place here. And there we go. I'm going to get a few screws in, then we'll do the cables. When you're putting the main board in, it's a good idea to go one in the middle, in the far right. Yep. Sometimes you need to snap in just like that. And then far left, because we might have the same issue. Nope. Okay, good. Then I put all the screws in since we got it going here. Same thing, you don't need to over tighten. It's just nice and snug is good. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the wood now. Since we're gonna evenly put pressure on the pots, we're fine. We're not really putting any serious weight on them now. Do our screen cable first, which can be a pain. Sometimes it wants to fight you. If it fights too hard, you might be out of alignment, so start over, pull it back out, and give it another go. That one will always be easy. Just checking our power cables, everything looks good. Our cap is good. Battery secure. Let's go ahead and flip her over and fire up, make sure everything works as expected. And then we're gonna put the final bits together here. So, make sure she's flipped off, although it doesn't matter because you can definitely just plug them in hot if you want. And she ought to fire right up. There we go, OS 4.9. First thing we want to do, let's make sure all our tacks are good. So let's just start rolling through. When you make sure your tacks are good, you also want to make sure all your lights are good. Because if you accidentally wreck a trace, your lights may not work, but everything else might. Multi-signal, edit, control, effects, cancel, edit. Okay, let's make sure all our pots are good. Sure they are. Make sure I got that one. So that's all good. The master volume won't do anything in OS 4.9. All tacks work. All pots work. We're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and power her down. Put the bottom plate on. Once our bottom plate's on, I'll go ahead and put the finishing touches on. All right. Just like so. And same as always, we want to go catty corner. So one top, one bottom. All right, guys, here we go. This is one of the most rewarding, well, the most rewarding part is putting it all back together and seeing the finished product. So we always want to do the caps first, or the button caps first, because once the pot knobs are in the way, it's just a little harder to get to these. Remember, the fat side goes on the bottom towards you. And they're just going to snap right in. Alignment is good. Now, if you're familiar with viruses, you realize that the tact switches never quite line up perfectly. Even on the TI, they're a little wonky. But these are going to be pretty good. These are high quality tacks that we installed. They're not cheap Chinese junk. Don't buy cheap Chinese tact switches. You will regret it. They work fine. They look the same. But the problem is they have a lot of rotational. There's a lot of rotation within the tact switch. So then your buttons are just like all kinds of snaggletooth. And they'll just constantly be moving. The proper ones don't have a rotational axis like that. And you can see your buttons stay. I mean, again, they're not perfectly aligned, but they're pretty pretty darn close. Definitely a lot more perfect than if you use cheap Chinese tacks. Also, I don't know how long they last. These are rated for 1 million clicks, so that's pretty good. All right, let's get through. Let's get through all the pot knobs now. Oops. There we go, folks. One very beautiful Virus B. Probably the nicest one I've ever seen. Not probably, definitely the nicest one I've ever seen. Little ding in the wood here, little ding in the wood there. We got a little tiny nick here. We have a little nick here. There's a little nick there. And I think there's 2 little nicks there. And one button that's a little shinier than the others. Otherwise, in immaculate condition. And ready to go with a new power supply filter capacitor, which I know I harp on, but it is responsible for supplying power to the entire unit, clean power, and it's the most common failure point in these units, and replacing it's crucial. Everything downstream is going to last longer if it's using cleaner power. Put in a new battery. Every tact switch has been replaced. All the pots are good. There's no need to replace any pots. They don't really wear out if you don't abuse them. If you move real fast and knock and pull and abuse them, you'll wear them out. If you turn them properly, so you're just getting a nice rotational force on them and not any type of upward, downward, or other type of force on them, and as long as you're not just being like you're really fast, all the time, they're gonna last forever, or close enough. It's when people abuse them that they wear out. So we're gonna fire up one last time. And we're just gonna go, let's just give it a nice little wiggle. Make sure we're not losing power. That's pretty aggressive. You would lose power on most Bs in that case. And there we go, guys. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.